Okay guys, so welcome to the, what we're on now, 17th, 18th podcast. We're doing it live on Facebook. No one's joined us yet, but I'm sure you will do over the next few minutes. Today's podcast is with one of our ninja coaches, Kick-Ass Kirsty. So first things, Kirsty, welcome to the podcast.
Hiya.
How are you doing today, Kirsty? You well?
I'm fine, absolutely fine. I'm a little bit out of breath still because I've just been rocketed.
You have been rocketed. Kirsty just took part in the 9:30 session, which finished literally 5-6 minutes ago, so she's just recovering still as well. So for those of you that don't know Kirsty, obviously all the members will, but the people listening to this who don't do, tell us a little bit about Kirsty and how long have you been coming here now?
I've actually been a member for probably just over 18 months.
Cool.
I joined like most people do because I was sick of the way I looked, sick of the way I felt, tried everything under the sun, even the dreaded Juice Plus. I did try it and wondered why it didn't work. And I just needed something, so I saw the adverts on Facebook and I thought, do you know what, I'll go down there, why not? And it did take me a lot of courage to come down, because I didn't know what it would be like, I didn't know whether I'd know anybody, I didn't know whether it'd be like all the other gyms that I've ever been in, that are, nobody speaks to you. I was a member of the Tippy Club for probably about 2.5 years previously to joining here, to which I didn't do any of the classes because you couldn't get in, and when you did, they were all filled with people that didn't speak to you, including the people that were taking the classes. Went into the gym, tried that out, found that they gave you a program initially, but every time you tried to adapt it or change it or wanted a bit more input, it was a bit like pulling teeth. And again, nobody spoke to you. So you could go in there for 2 hours and nobody would even say hello, which obviously isn't going to help. So then I made the move, came down here, was absolutely petrified, but joined, and it's amazing.
Did you know anyone at all when you first started?
No.
You came in by yourself to a briefing
Came in by myself,
presumably.
yeah, which is really unlike me. But I think I must have just got myself to the point where it was like, I can't do this anymore, this has got to stop. I saw some pictures of myself in the August when we've been on holiday, and I just thought, you're only going to get worse if you carry on. So it was kind of right, which is why I then started in September.
I mean, that's very normal. Most people, they get to the point where, well, like I said, they've had enough. They've got progressively less and less happy with whatever it may be, the physical appearance, how they feel, health, etc. And it gets to the point where, I think I put a post on the other day where eventually the change happens when the pain of change becomes less than the pain of staying the same. So you came down, you got started, how did you get on those first few months? I
really enjoyed it. I did struggle, I think, with the food aspect of it, and I didn't actually complete my challenge. I think I got £17.5.
Oh.
Yeah, which is really frustrating now. Knowing what I know now, I could have smashed it, you know. But I think it was just that change in, like everybody will say, the things that you could eat on other diets and food plans, etc. But it's actually just taken it down to the basics, and I still took a while, I think, to get my head around what I didn't need to eat. I mean, I don't eat bread now at all.
Do you miss it?
Not really.
No? It's not that exciting, but is it? Bread's nice, but it's not that exciting.
No, and I think it's a bit like, the problem I have is cake. And I still have that problem. And obviously, I'm not a nun, I do indulge. But yeah, that is my big thing still. It's the homemade cakes with the cream in. Not the shop bought ones, not, you know, but it's like if you go into a cafe and they've got them and they've made them, and it's those that.
So just thinking about it, if you started in that September, that was the very first £20 challenge we did, didn't we? So you were starting at the same time as Ronnie and people like that?
Yeah.
It's got quite an intake that month. And that was the first time we'd done that challenge, and we had a huge interest in it. I remember we literally got 300 people register their details in like a day when we first announced it on Facebook. And obviously, as that happens, only a proportion of them actually then bother to book in for the briefing meeting, a proportion of them turn up, only a proportion of them do it. But it was a big intake that month. Many of you whom are still here, obviously Ronnie and family. I'd probably say a good half to 3/4 of that September intake, which is coming up 2 years ago now, are still here, which is awesome. So obviously you ended up doing sessions for us and working here, but you do have another main career, so
Yeah.
an actual career really you could call it. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I'm a midwife. I work at the hospital in Macclesfield. I also am a community midwife, so I work at St Congleton. I've been doing that for, well, I've been qualified for 16 years. I do enjoy that, but comes hand in hand with being the stress of the job. As you can imagine, it's wonderful, and I wouldn't change it for the world. There's nothing better than seeing a new life come into the world. Nothing better. But obviously, hand in hand with that comes the stress and the pressure of the journey. Yeah. So I see this is my release. So when I come here, especially when I come coaching here, it just doesn't feel like work. Mm-hmm. It just feels like I'm coming down with a group of my friends, and we're going through this programme, and we're having a laugh, and I'm helping them, and I come away feeling better. To the point where if I have worked at my other job on the same day, then if I'm stressed out, by the time I leave here, I'm not.
That's good. It's a bonus.
Yeah.
Cool. So obviously you started off just as a member, and then you start taking sessions. How long have you taken sessions for now? 6 months?
Something like that, yeah.
Something along those lines. So you did your PT qualification and started taking the sessions. Was that ever something you envisaged that you'd be doing when you started, or something you'd ever crossed your mind might be of interest to you?
I had dabbled with the idea of doing something different, and I have always enjoyed fitness, but never enough to take it that step further. Until there was sort of like, I think there was a post from Matt on here that said, does anybody fancy being the next Tony? And I took it away and I deliberated about it, and then I spoke to Tony, and I thought, do you know what, why not? And it's the best thing I did. But no, it wasn't anything that I thought of. I would come down. I didn't come down here to think, oh well, this might be, another string to my bow kind of thing. I came down here purely for the sort of like the weight loss, the sort of the body change, it's a bonus.
Well, funny enough, actually, that's reminded me. The other day, my mum asked who else had got in the pipeline, because there's no reason that hopefully you, Tony, or Andy are going anywhere in the foreseeable future, but things never last forever. And she asked who else had got coming through. Actually, we don't have anyone coming through at the moment. So just a quick shout out there for anyone that's listening. If you potentially like the idea of becoming the next Tony, Kirsty, Andy, etc., then come and have a chat with us, and we'll see about putting things in place. And it's always good to have people coming through, because then potentially when they're needed in a year or 2 or 5, they're in a position to do it, rather than waiting all of a sudden to need a new member of staff and there just not being anyone there. And we are particularly keen on getting people who've come through the system, people who believe in it, people who joined because it's something they wanted to do, stayed because they got results, they liked it, they believe in the way we do things and buy into it. All but the first couple of members of staff that we've had here have done that. And the first couple of members of staff, they were perfectly fine, but there's always more buy-in to the process and more belief and more delivery of it as we want it to be delivered from someone who's come through that journey. So we mentioned your first couple of months, so obviously then that takes you up to around about Christmas 2014, and then onwards from there. How's the rest of your journey once you settled into sort of regular membership?
I loved it. I still do love it. I'm just getting back on track at the minute. It's something that almost, I know it sounds a bit of a cliche, but almost took over my life. I always remembered that it's something you said right at the beginning, that you have to look after yourself in order to be able to look after everybody else. And if you've got a busy life, then you have to make something non-negotiable, like the dentist. Yeah. And that's what I did. And it was a case of, when I wasn't at work, I was here for the 9:30 session. If I couldn't make the 9:30 session, then I would do another one. There was never a day when I didn't come, unless it was because I was working. And I just love it, and I've seen lots of people come through, and I've met lots of new friends, and I still love coming through the door and thinking, what's got to say? What is he saying? And I come in, and sometimes I go, oh my God, it's this. But I'm also very vocal about moaning, but I still do it anyway. I just like vocalising the fact that
you don't moan in a bad way.
No, I don't find it easy.
It's just a little mumble, then you get on with it. That's fine. You mentioned there about being busy. Obviously, you've got busy at work, you've got an amount of time that you spend here, but you have quite a lot of child-related commitments as well.
Yeah, I do. I've got 4 children of my own, and I've also got a stepdaughter as well. So they all keep me very busy in between them. So that does prove their own challenges, but it's nice to see now, and it's getting to be more of a concept that they're starting to think about. My eldest is nearly 12. She's not at school on Thursday because they finish a day earlier than the rest of them. And the first thing she said to me is, "Oh, right, I'm off school on Thursday." I went, "Yeah, I know." And she went, "Can I come to the academy with you?"
Cool.
And I said, "You can come down here, that's fine." She goes, "Well, can't I come in and do the session?" I said, "No, because you're not quite old enough." She went, "Oh, when can I do stuff like that?" So we've had the whole conversation, and so it is that they see me doing things and ask me questions. And we were doing yoga poses on Saturday night.
Awesome.
Like you do. But it's nice to see, for them to see that, well, Mum does it, so then I can do it. Because if Mum's doing it, then I can do it as well.
Lead by example.
Yeah. And they are actually, it's funny whether it's coincidental or not, but over the 18 months that I've been here, they have all got a lot more active themselves. My eldest daughter's dancing, my second one, she does running, my third one's football, and my littlest one, she's only 4, but she's swimming and she wants to go dancing. So it's like they're starting to think, oh, right, well, this is what we do.
Yeah. Just becomes part of a normal life, isn't it? That's what they just see as what you do. It's not something you have to force upon them. And we came to realisation recently, actually, because we've noticed that, for those people listening that don't know, I've got 2 of my own and a stepdaughter. So not quite the 5 that Kirsty's got, but 3 provides plenty of challenges. We came to the realisation recently that the kids were getting a little bit obsessed with iPads and phones and stuff like that. And it got to the point where literally sometimes they were waking up, eyes open, and go, "Never iPad. No good morning or anything like that." And we were like, "This is not good, this is not, I don't like this at all." I don't mind them having the iPad or what have you at a time when there's literally nothing better to do. So on a long car journey, watching a film, that's absolutely fine. Maybe playing a game on it where we're about to do something else. But having it as the first port of call wasn't good. And we came to the quite saddening realisation that that's kind of what me and Alex were doing. We were waking up, checking messages on our phone or iPad, just before we went to bed. That's what we were doing as well. So we've made a concerted effort now to hugely reduce how much time we spend on things like that. And lo and behold, kids have lost interest. They now see us getting up and straight away doing something, an activity, starting breakfast or what have you. Not the first thing we do is checking phones and iPads, and they follow suit.
Yeah, I mean, it is true. I had, I think it was something you put on actually last week, and I thought, do you know what, that's true. So I've had a little bit of a, not an enforced ban, but a little bit of a, right, well, we're not doing that today. And it's like, yesterday it was nice, and obviously it's Sunday morning, and we all have a bit of a lazy morning, so they were up, and they were all on their iPads, phones, whatever, playing things, watching things. And then it got to about 10:30, and I said, right, the sun's out. I said, right, everybody, let's go and get changed, we're going out in the garden. And they were like, and I said, no, come on, we're going out, that's it. And we were outside, and all of them were outside with me for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Once did they mention iPads, and I mean, obviously they weren't, I was gardening, and some of them were helping me, but some of the other little ones were on the trampoline playing, but we're all outside, and I thought that's what we should be doing more of, and I think it's too easy for us, and it is easy, because they sit there and they play on these things, and they don't mind us.
Yeah. So like I said, it has its place. We do use it occasionally when we need them to stop minding, because like you said there. But I think the key thing is, again, lead by example. If you're out there playing in the garden with them, they'll do it. When I hear parents complain about how, when I was a kid, I used to go and play out in the street or with my friends or what have you, it was probably that their parents encouraged it more and led by example to some degree, and it was just kind of the done thing. Yeah. Whereas if we don't make that the done thing for our kids, for the next generation, then it's not going to be the done thing, unfortunately. How do you find, in terms of the changes that have been made to you since you've been here, in helping you deliver that role as a mother, in terms of improved energy, patience with them, etc.? Extremely. It did have a big effect, because I was feeling tired all the time. Not surprised. Full-time job and 5 kids, essentially.
And feeling like I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go and read stories. I didn't want to go and play jigsaws and this, that and the other. But it seems that eating better does give you more energy. Exercising better does give you more energy, and makes you able to juggle. Because I think that's, anybody who's got kids will know that, you know, it's all about plate spinning. How can you keep one occupied or happy with whatever they're doing, and then you've got somebody else shouting at you. It's the whole thing of, you know, I'm changing my name, it's no longer Mum, because that's all we hear. Mum, 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 Mum. But it did provide me with more tools to try and sort of control that environment a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard as well, you feel guilty, like, with my boys, particularly my eldest, Ollie, he is non-stop, he wants my attention 24 hours a day, which I'm happy to give him as much as I realistically can, but it is draining. At the end of the day, when they want an extra story, part of it's just like, just go to sleep, please. I just need a bit of a rest, and then there's the huge guilt that's attached to that and what have you. But ultimately, the more you do to improve your own energy, your sleep, reduce your stress levels and all that, the more able you are to do that. There's no getting around that. It doesn't make it easy, it makes it less difficult,
yeah.
But that's perhaps all we can realistically expect. It's never going to be easy having 3 or 5 or 1 children's book.
No.
One it by itself is plenty hard enough.
Yeah, oh definitely. It's not easy bringing children full stop, but yeah, it does help you, and I think it's the big thing I've found is what I eat, because recently I've had a bit of I've not been very well, and I've not been making the best choices as far as food's concerned. And not only have I put on half a stone, but I've also found that my skin went bad, my energy levels were plummeted, but then it was a bit of a vicious cycle really, because I felt crap. I then reached for the biscuits and things, and because I felt crap trying to make myself feel a bit better. And it was only sort of maybe last week that I thought to myself, this is ridiculous. You are almost right back to how you were before. Because that's what I used to be like. I used to work nights. When I first started here, and because obviously you work nights, you have a small amount of sleep, I'd get up and I'd eat something that wasn't particularly good for me, because I felt tired, I felt, you know. So I said to myself, no, this is ridiculous. And actually one of the girls said to me, Mummy, why are you not eating properly anymore? I mean, they don't always eat like, you know, properly. They do have cakes and things like that. Because that was my choice, that's what I get from them. But yeah, but for her to turn around and ask me why I wasn't eating properly before, I can't really answer that. Yeah. I don't know why I'm not doing it.
It's easily done, and I'm sure for people listening to this, the fact that someone who works in this field, that happens to them, as it happens to me, as it happens to Matt, Tony, etc., knowing that is useful. It's a normal reaction, and it's really easily done, because ultimately those things do make us feel better. Having ice cream, cake, biscuits, alcohol, all that do make you feel better. There's no getting around it. If I was able to be in the shape I wanted to be in, have the health, etc., that I wanted, but eat cake and ice cream all day, get drunk every night, then I'll probably do it. Because I do quite enjoy those things.
Yeah.
But ultimately it's a short-term fix.
Yeah.
It makes you feel better for, particularly with food, it's only really for the duration that it's on your lips and in your mouth. Alcohol, it's only for a few hours. But longer term, even medium term, it makes it feel worse. And it's coming to that realisation as soon as possible, really, that's the key. So we all have those moments, we all have bad days, weekends, etc. But then the sooner we can realise that actually it's going to make it worse long term and get back on what we were doing before, which is harder. Again, there's no getting around it. Anyone that claims that eating healthy all the time isn't any harder than eating rubbish all the time is living in a dream world.
Yeah. And also that is something that I've found. I'd obviously sort of weaned myself off sugar, but it's since I've been trying to cut it down or stop eating the things that I was eating, it's been awful. I have been craving it, and it's been horrendous. And I thought to myself, why have I done this? But then you get to the point where you then start noticing things. I went to soft play centre at my friend's party on Saturday, and obviously the kids had food and stuff like that. And I got there and I was like, oh, I'm just absolutely starving now. What can I go and eat? To the point where I was starting to feel a bit like sick because I was hungry. Which is what I found since I've stopped eating sugar. All of a sudden I'm hungry like that. It's not, it doesn't come on. It just. So I went to see what I could eat. They had no fruit. They had no. The only thing they could get me was chips or sausage with chips. There was no salads. They could do a sandwich, but I'm like, there was nothing really that I could eat. And in the end, I thought, this is ridiculous. So I ended up having a packet of. They did have packets of like dried fruit and nut things for kids, and I ended up having a packet of those just to tide me over till I got out there.
Yeah.
But you're just thinking, it is ridiculous that there isn't more places that are thinking about it.
The world is set up to make it as easy as possible to get fat and unhealthy and miserable. And I was just saying that people that claim that that's not the case, well, I don't think they even really believe that deep down. I think they just feel that's what they need to say to get people doing it. And when the average fit pro tells the average person that it's not any more expensive, it's not any more time consuming, it's not any harder to eat healthy, then that average person just thinks, well, this person's too different to me. They just live in a gym. It's easy for them, it's different for them. It might be no harder for them, but it is harder for me. Whereas actually that person will get more benefit from being told the truth, that it is harder, but it's worthwhile. That if you're sensible and plan ahead and structure it correctly, it's only a little bit more time consuming, a little bit. You can minimise how much more time and effort and money it takes, but it will take more. You can put systems in place, you can batch cook, you can buy food when it's approaching a sell-by date, you can freeze, all little tactics and tricks you can use to minimise that, but accept that it always will be more time consuming, more expensive, more effort, but it'll be worth it. And you'll get that time back. I always like that expression that if we spend an extra 5, 10, 20 minutes a day on food prep, but then live 20 years longer potentially, 10 years longer, 5 years longer, you get that time back. It's worthwhile.
Yeah, definitely. It is funny to think that, and the thing is, all that time before I started here, I never really thought about it. It was all, oh, what can I eat? It wasn't looking at what things should I be eating. So yeah, it does make choices, but it does make the children have different choices as well, because my mum thinks my daughter's strange because she goes around to her house and instead of raiding the chocolate box, which is what the other grandchildren do, she's in the fridge and her favourite thing is pieces of cheddar cheese, an apple and cucumber.
Brilliant.
And that's it. She'll do the whole. She opens the cupboard, has a look through, and go. Then she'll go, "Nan, I can have some cheese." And that's, and it's like, my mum thinks she's crazy, which
Nothing wrong with being strange.
No.
In a world where, on average, everyone is getting fatter, sicker, and less happy, being different to that is not a bad thing. And I've been making my kids understand that you do what you want. You don't want to be different just for the sake of it.
No.
But you do what you think is best, and it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. I think it was Mark Twain said that once you find that you're on the side of the majority, it's time to change sides, especially if what the majority is doing isn't working.
Yeah.
It's not. Like I said, the world is getting fatter and sicker and less healthy. Why do what everyone else does? In theory, we should do the exact opposite because it's clearly not working. So that's what brings us up to the modern day then. So you've had a bit of time off recently, you're back on it now.
Yeah.
Any words of wisdom for those guys listening at home? So I'm sure they've been interested to hear your journey, hear how a real person, as people like to put it, with a very busy life. I don't think there's many people watching this who will have 4/5 kids and a full-time job and a part-time job. How you've managed to do it, how you've managed to overcome the challenges that have presented themselves along the way. Any words of wisdom, advice for those listening at home?
As I say, preparation is obviously the key, but that's easier said than done because other things do take over. But it's quite a lot of what you've touched on really. It's like just being aware of things. When I went find things like, you know, like say that they're coming up to the sell-by date, I bought 4 packs of minced beef, 5% minced beef from Tesco's because they were reduced, and 3 of them have gone in the freezer.
Perfect.
So it's stuff like that really. It's getting it when you can, being prepared, making sure that you know what you're having maybe a day or 2 before you're having it. Because the worst thing you can do is come in from work and go, can I have some tea? Because then you're more likely to go...
Yeah, the easiest option is always rubbish in a situation like that.
Yeah. I think as I say, I've been off recently. I do find that the best things about this place is the people. Because they've been really helpful to me. They gave me the time, the space when I needed it. They've been really welcoming, they're friendly. I don't know anybody that I don't speak to on a regular basis. Not just here, outside of the academy as well. I've made lots of new friends that I wouldn't have made had I not come here in the first place. But it's a struggle. I still struggle. There's still some days where I get up and I think, oh, shall I just go home and have a cup of tea instead of going to the academy? And then I think, no, why is that even entered into your head? And I've never once done it yet.
That's the key. That's the key. You probably will never get rid of those thoughts, unfortunately.
No.
They'll probably be with you for the rest of your life, but you can either have them with you for the rest of your life and act on them and not come, and things get worse, or you can have them with you, not act on them, come down, do a session, and things get better.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And again, people listening, hearing that, I'm sure is useful. We all have these ideas. We all, as mentioned in the video this morning I put in the Facebook group about quitting, that we all have ideas of quitting. About when we first set the business up here, me and Matt, it was nearly 2 years before we took an actual wage out of the group business. So we were still making money from one-to-ones and all that. But 2 years before we actually got paid for any of the time that we spent with any of the group members, essentially. And I'd be lying if I said that the idea of quitting didn't cross our minds. We were thinking, is this really what we want to do? Is it really ever going to get there? But it did, and if we had quit, then we wouldn't be in a position where we are now in terms of, you know, members with fantastic results in providing a nice enough income. I don't want to get misquoted on that because people often think that we earn a lot more than we do. It's a perfectly, you know, nice enough income. But we all have those thoughts. I wake up, pretty much every morning when I wake up at 5 o'clock to get here for 6 o'clock, I do think, is this what I want to be doing? I could, in theory, pay staff to take all the sessions. I wouldn't take on as much money, but I could do that. But actually, that's not really what I want to do. And it's remembering that and remembering that what you really want long term rather than what you want at that particular point is key. Just going to check, guys, those of you listening live, and there's loads of you, any questions for Kirsty? So any of you guys listening at home that are, and I should imagine most of you listening will be one of these things, either very busy, have kids, have a job, find some of the things we've talked about here challenging and difficult. Anything that we've touched upon that you'd like Kirsty to expand on, perhaps her experience of. We'll just leave 30 seconds or so, and I'll just get rid of that phone call. There we go. Sam Lakin has asked, well, she said you were the first person I spoke to when I started at the academy. That's nice. The son started that same month as well. Cool. Just last few seconds, guys. Anyone got any more questions? That phone, thankfully, has stopped. Just post them below as a reply to this video, and we'll cover them. Nope, if not, guys, right. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to that. Hopefully everyone found it useful. We've gone bang on half an hour, so the video is actually about to cut off live, actually. Oh, that one pop up. Oh, Kate says, would you give up the NHS to be a full-time fit pro? That's a deep one, isn't it?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah. Depending on the circumstances and all that, but potentially.
Definitely. It's definitely shows me that there is something, because midwifery is all I've ever done. And I'm saying I still do love it, but it does show me that there is other things out there.
Cool, we've got 30 seconds before it cuts out, it's a quick one. Andy says, Kirsty, what do you do when you're faced with temptation? We've got 30 seconds, go. When faced with temptation?
Try and think about it before I do it. And sometimes it works, and I decide not to eat the cake or whatever it is. Sometimes it doesn't, and I eat it anyway. But the idea is to not beat myself up and not to let it cascade. So if I have a cake in the morning, I then try and have a decent lunch, decent tea, not think, oh, well, I've had that cake, so I might as well eat chips, eat this, eat that for the rest of the day.
Two perfect points there. There's a great expression that our greatest freedom lies in the realisation that between thought and action, there is a gap. So think about it, take that pause. If you still want to do it, fair enough. Don't let it write off the day, that's the second thing. I think we're literally about to put it out on Facebook now, so guys, hope you enjoyed listening to that. Kirsty, thank you for your time.
Cheers.